Hello, hello. Welcome back to Birth Back to the Wild. Jess here. I am your host. Today I want to talk just quickly about what it means to come back to the wild in terms of the environment we birth in. So, the reality of our birth industry, the industrialized obstetrics, is that it was created for more business. It was created by male doctors to bring women to the hospitals, to medicate and control their birth. But it was presented in a way of saving women by saying home birth is dirty and dangerous and women die and all those things to scare you, to scare women at that time to coming into hospitals. And it was kind of presented as like a status symbol to be in a hospital and be taken care of. But when you look at a hospital environment, not a single thing about it is in tune with the primal and spiritual nature of birth. Not a thing. Because in order to fully surrender and be in tune with your primal instincts to birth your baby undisturbed and in connection with the energy of the universe, which is what we are designed to do, we must be safe, protected, and comfortable. And while our mind convinces us that that happens in a hospital, our body knows different. We have allowed the analytical mind. Our modern science has put the analytical mind on a pedestal above the wisdom of our bodies. More so, in all of allopathic, that's the analytical mind is the leader in allopathic medicine. Everything is needing to study and analyze everything. And it does not look at the body as an interconnected electrical network of wisdom. They separate it into specialties rather than seeing the body as an interconnected communication system. And because of these things, that is why we see such disturbance and intervention and trauma in birth. We have been convinced that we are safe there because of supposed emergencies, when in reality, most emergencies are created because of the push and oversight of a medical team. Because when you go into a hospital and your birth is normal and a medical team oversees it, they're trained to spot emergency. They're trained to take every little sign and symptom as a signal of an emergency. So even if your birth isn't an emergency, everything will be taken by a doctor or a nurse to put you through protocols of an emergency situation. They often function under protocol and not the wisdom of a mother. Your instincts and your spiritual wisdom and your connection with your baby is not accounted for. And birth is not a medical event. Therefore, in 99% of circumstances, it doesn't belong there. And it's hard because even when women end up in an emergency situation, they often can't see how the obstetric system contributed to that. And then they become heroing the medical system for saving them when, for example, using Pitocin is the number one reason that fetal distress happens. And then doctors will say, oh, the baby's in distress, and then they need to do other interventions or a C-section or whatever. When the medications that they're giving you, the disturbance with cervical checks, the disturbance with constant nurses bothering you and people checking in on you, when you're just trying to birth a baby, the comfort, you will never feel it in a hospital. You are never fully, and your body knows, you are never fully safe and comfortable to surrender to the primal and instinctual nature of birth. And even when we have a vaginal birth in the hospital, we and I did this with my first baby, we kind of justify and are like, well, it was pretty natural. It wasn't, though. I mean, nothing about birthing in a hospital is natural. A vaginal birth doesn't mean it's natural. I had far from a natural birth. I wanted to convince myself it was natural because I ended up having a vaginal birth, because having preeclampsia almost always leads to a C-section in so many circumstances. So I considered myself lucky to have a vaginal birth, and it was fairly natural, but it wasn't. I had Pitocin. I was given morphine to sleep. I was on an IV drip the whole time. I was barely able to move because they were monitoring the baby the whole time. And yeah, nothing's natural about that. We're almost in this imprisoned society where it's inverted and convinces us that it's one thing when it's really something else. And we've been so imprisoned by it so long that we don't even see it. And that is really the epitome of Stockholm Syndrome. That is pretty much the definition of it. We're gaslit to think that the system is saving us or taking care of us or helping us in some way, where really they're the ones who are the kidnappers, harming us. And while emergency medicine absolutely has a purpose, pretty much the rest of allopathic system is exploitive. It can seem extreme to say, but we really have to acknowledge that to be able to reclaim birth for its wild nature. It is primal mammalian instincts that birth. And we deserve to have women surround us that honor the authority and wisdom of the mother. The mother is the primary authority in her birth, no one else. And her instincts and intuition should lead. Wherever that leads her, she should be the lead. Period. So it's been a little while since I had an episode, so I wanted to come back with this and kind of bring back the inspiration that brought me to this podcast and to want to do this as a birth keeper and also a mother's keeper, which is postpartum doula care, and supporting instinctual motherhood, bringing back the village to women. And a big part of that and big part of the wisdom coming back into our wild wisdom is partly with detoxing and healing your body, not only physically, but emotionally and spiritually, to realign with your soul. So that is why I do regenerative nutrition, primarily focusing on women preparing for birth, preparing for pregnancy. So if you've had a pregnancy that didn't go well, that had health issues, you're looking to get pregnant, you're having fertility issues, any of those things, please contact me and I can help get going on a regenerative nutrition protocol to really reclaim your body. and nourish it into vitality so that you don't question, you don't second guess your sovereignty, your wisdom, and your innate ability to birth. Thank you for being here. Love you all.